Greetings, folks, and welcome to the third and the final part of the Rocket Knight Adventures playthrough, where this time we rescue Princess Sherry and that pig enemy. His name's Devilgus, and we'll see him a little bit later on. But he flees toward this pig starship. And Princess Sherry will give Rocket Knight these superpowers to fly up into space after him with our 10 lives and 177,000 points. Move on to stage numero 6. And as was expected, this is a level in outer space, and this reminds me of those space shooter games, kind of like Darius Gaiden and R-Type and stuff like that. Those games are awesome, by the way. Of course, I briefly owned Darius Gaiden on the Sega Saturn when I still had my Sega Saturn collection. Damn my ex for pushing me into a position where I had to sell my Saturn. At least I got good money out of it. But of course I put good money into that collection too. My Sega Saturn collection was top notch. There was actually a point in time where I considered getting every single North American game for my collection, which are only like 240 some, I believe. Of course, I never owned the legendary Panzer Dragoon saga. That is the one game I should have bought when I had the chance, but at the same time, I kept thinking to myself, do I really want to spend $1,000 on just one video game? I mean, the short answer was yes. But I didn't do it. Of course, there was a point in time recently where I spent $500 to buy a music CD for my music collection. But that's kind of unrelated to video games. This is stage 6. We gotta look out for more of those pigs, and I think that's Axel Gear throwing rockets at us. I don't know if that's him or not, but it kind of resembles him. Whoever that is, we gotta deal with him. Now we don't gotta deal with him. If you hit one of the gray or pinkish ones compared to one of the green ones, you'll get more apples. Of course, I'm going into this without much health, so I don't really expect there to be good results. In fact, I'm pretty sure I ended up dying in this. Which this was one death I couldn't really figure out how to cut out off screen. Though I could be wrong, I can't remember if that's actually how this happened. It's been a while since I recorded the gameplay. You gotta think, I record a bunch of gameplay and then I record the commentary much later on. That's what happens when you try to keep some kind of backlog as a Let's Player. I want to make sure that I can put out content on a fairly consistent basis. Actually, I'm surprised I haven't had a death yet in this part, because this is the most difficult part of stage 6, and it's just a matter of taking all this crap out on this ship. But once you take the ship out, you just gotta deal with this dude over here. And he's got 3 different phases. The phase where he shoots out these projectiles that kind of look like Wumpa Fruit from the Crash Bandicoot series. The phase where he shoots his blue lasers. And the phase where he dribbles a ball back and forth. Okay, I guess a 4th phase here where after you hit him, he jumps up and down for a minute. After a while, I've found that the most difficult phase to deal with here is the blue laser. But I managed to make it look fairly easy on the recording. But once again, believe me, I spent tons of time practicing this and invested a lot of hours into making sure I was able to record a fairly decent playthrough of the game. Because even if my commentary is not the best, I at least want to try to make sure the gameplay is somewhat presentable. But that's gonna do it for that robot enemy and that ship and all that nonsense for stage 6. And believe it or not, this is actually a fairly short game if you know what you're doing, and we'll move on to the 7th and the final stage in this game. Which is aboard the Pig Star ship. Which I'm guessing the Pig Star is kind of like how the Death Egg is, which is kind of like a knockoff of the Death Star from Star Wars. And a face-off against Devilgus here. Which this face-off can be kind of annoying to deal with sometimes, but you want to make sure that you just use your launch attack at the right times and make sure to get out of his way at the right time. And you gotta look out for those blue face things that he throws at you. But there's but that was just one of 2 phases of this battle. As I guess Devilgus is a robot that can put himself back together. I would say that's probably the most difficult part of the battle to deal with, is just looking out for his leg stretch. But on to the next room where you got these blue pig robots that kind of resemble Devilgus. Maybe they're supposed to be like clones that aren't finished yet. Because there are a few in the background there where they look like they're in the early stages of building. But the goal here is you want to launch into those 2 times so they blow up and they aren't a problem. There's another section in the level like this later on that's a little bit more tricky to get through. But we got the final showdown with Axel Gear now to deal with. As we only see the silhouette of him there for a second, but now we see him. There he is. Now this is just one of 3 phases you gotta deal with. Which basically just all he does is jump back and forth. Sometimes he'll fire projectiles similar to you. You just gotta make sure that you hit him at the right time, and eventually it's not really that big of a problem. Once again, I cannot remember how many times you gotta hit him, so figure that out on your own time. I guess that's how many times you gotta hit him, because now he's on to the 2nd phase here. which you just gotta hang out up on top of these rope things or whatever they are. Just keep launching at him. He'll fire rockets at you a couple of times. And you gotta hit him 4 times, and he will have no more rocket attacks for you, but he will launch himself at you for the 3rd and final phase of this. It's kind of hard to tell which way he's going to launch himself at you, whether it's going to be from the top of the room or from the bottom of the room, but he is no more. That is the end of Axel Gear. Teleport on out of there. Whenever I first made it here, I thought this room reminded me of something left over from a bowling game. Like, this looks like some kind of fancy graphics. The roof in the background, anyway. Kind of looks like something I would see in a bowling game. But maybe that's just me. But anyways, you gotta deal with those unfinished prototypes of Devilgus, I'm guessing. But I'd rather just get the heck out of there. Now this is the final room before the final showdown, and you actually get a couple of pretty cool things here. You get a lot of items and get to replenish your health, and all that's fine and good. Because you're gonna need it for this final showdown. And this is the final showdown against the heart of the Pig Star, and what the heck is the name of this enemy anyway? Because I honestly don't know. Okay, I guess it's Devilgus. I guess the main enemy is Devilgus the whole time. And this is supposed to be Devilgus in his true form? Oh, okay, now I get it. Yeah, because all those prototypes back there that we dealt with, maybe the one that we dealt with at the beginning of Stage 7 there, maybe that was maybe that was just a bunch of prototypes. And this is the first I'm hearing of any of this stuff, so this is kind of a surprise plot twist to me. Oh, the joys of having Wikipedia there and ready for you whenever you're on your phone. And you have your phone at your side when you record. Good stuff. But anyways, there are several different phases you gotta deal with Devilgus here. As he shoots lasers at you, and he also shoots those flashy ring-looking things, which make a sound similar to the score tally at the end. But anyways, here's another phase that you gotta deal with. And this is the third of actually 5 different phases of Devilgus you gotta deal with. This is where difficulty really picks up. And then I don't know if it's like this every time, but it was for me. But if you stand in the, if you're facing the left direction, most of the time, the switch that you gotta flick, or whatever that is, will face the direction on the right. You would think this would be the end of it, but it is not. And because I switched the difficulty from easy to hard mode in the options at the beginning of this playthrough, this is an exclusive for the hard mode of the game, actually. The pig star explodes. You would think the day would be saved right then and there, but see that second star launching toward you is actually Devilgus, who somehow survived all these explosions and will once again make a last-ditch effort to take out Sparkster. But he has some patterns that you just kind of pick up, and like those rings are actually kind of easy to avoid, and then you just hold over into the specific corner you're in long enough and make sure you move out of the way just in the nick of time. Which I failed to do right then and there, but the ultimate objective here is you're in your pod going back to the planet, and because Devilgus is chasing you, he'll only chase you back for a little bit longer. He just... Ooh, is that a video glitch? And that's gonna do it for Devilgus, actually. That was it, folks. That was the end of it. That's all, folks. But yeah, that's actually the end of the day. That is actually the end of the game. The day has been saved. Sparkster makes his way back home, and the kingdom has been restored. Of course, the princess has been rescued, and all is well once again. Of course, they're glad to see each other, and now looks like Sparkster's just gonna get out of there and go save the day somewhere else. But yeah, folks, that's the end of Rocket Knight Adventures for the Sega Genesis, and this is Fromark, and I thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope you'll tune into whatever the next playthrough is going to be. But of course, before I go, we gotta let these credits roll, as I believe that it's always important to give credit where credit is due. Although there have been plenty of games I've played where there is no credits roll at the end. Interesting stuff. I did want to point out that one of the developers of this game was actually involved in some of the Contra games, which maybe one day I'll play a Contra game on the channel. It's just those things are notoriously difficult. But that's one of Konami's other big games. Konami's actually put out a lot of pretty big video games in their time, but they're a company that's fallen over the years. Not very many quality things out of them recently. But yeah, here we just got Sparkster flying off into the vistas while he's looking at the names rolling across. Of course, I don't recognize any of these names from any of the other games credits rolls that I've seen so far. I just know about the counter thing from Wikipedia. Produce. Produce. And of course, presented by Konami. Of course, this was played on a Sega. Well, no, this playthrough wasn't played on a Sega, but this game was originally a Sega game. So, anyways, this is Fromark, and I thank you all for tuning in for the Rocket Knight Adventures playthrough, and I will see you in the next playthrough. I could try the very hard mode, but I don't think it does anything. The hard mode's the only thing you gotta do to get the good ending, as all that stuff that you seen doesn't appear in the easy mode, but I'm out of here.